Fight fans, make Twin Peaks your UFC fight headquarters. The official fight headquarters is Twin Peaks. Never, ever a cover. All fight organizations, all boxing, doesn't matter. Never pay to watch the fights. Plus, eat, drink, scenic views, and Twin Peaks 29-degree ice-cold beer made from scratch favorites while watching all the fights. And did I say never pay a cover? That's Twin Peaks, Pembroke Pines, Cypress Creek, Hollywood, Davie, and of course, Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard in West Palm Beach. Your ultimate UFC fight headquarters, Twin Peaks.
Experience the ultimate blend of luxury shopping, dining, and entertainment at the Gardens Mall. Just 1 mile east off I-95 on PJ Boulevard, this premier destination offers a mix of high-end brands, trendy retailers, and delicious dining. The mall's award-winning architecture, fine art, and lush landscaping create a stunning backdrop for interactive experiences and events. Whether you're shopping for the latest trends or enjoying the vibrant atmosphere, the Gardens Mall is Palm Beach County's top shopping and lifestyle destination.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
Anna Jar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station. Huddle up.
66 Hitchx Vegas Flare. I'm one, ready?
It's time to break down the boldest plays.
Let's go, baby. Boom.
Hardest hits. And the craziest stories from around the NFL.
Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Fire the cannons.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Good morning, everybody. Colin Russo here with ESPN West Palm. It is Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 1063. I am no longer at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach today. I am back remote. I was back home for the holidays, back up north in Connecticut, but we do have our partner in crime, Kate Chumslin, who is back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach, making sure we go over the airs today. Kate, how you doing today? What's going on?
I am doing fantastic this morning, Colin. I know the weather's probably a little bit cooler for you up there in Connecticut, but let me tell you what, us Floridians, us native Floridians are having a heck of a time with just this mid-70s right now, so we are living it up.
So you had a good Thanksgiving, though. You were local in a Florida Thanksgiving.
I was, yes. So it is really nice when my in-laws and my personal family are both in the same city. So I was able to go back up to Orlando for the weekend, for Thursday to Saturday. Had one Thanksgiving at one house, one Thanksgiving at the other house. Was able to keep the meals settled, so I was able to have a good portion at both places.
So
and honestly,
both. Okay, you had dinner at both.
I had
dinner at one spot, dessert at the next.
I kind of just had more of like a lunch at one spot and then a dinner at the other spot because we had the first meal at like 11:30 and then I had another meal at 3:30. So I was kind of in the middle of everything and I was basically eating all day, which is the top priority.
Right. Dinner, I guess your first meal at 11:30 is quite early. I don't know how I feel about that. But it sounds like you had a good Thanksgiving. That's good to hear. As always, of course, Thanksgiving means football, and there was a Black Friday game between the Raiders and the Chiefs, which was surprisingly good. We'll get into that a little later in the show. And, of course, 3 games on the Thanksgiving slate with our, old reliables, the Dallas Cowboys, the Detroit Lions, always in the mix there. And a couple good things, a couple bad things coming out of it. I guess a good thing if you're a Bear fan is Matt Eberflus officially out as head coach of the Chicago Bears after he dwindled that game away late in that early window on Thanksgiving. Got a whole lot to talk about, a whole lot to do on Sunday Huddle next hour. You're with us on ESPN 106.3 3 Hard Rock Bet. Now that we're into sort of the playoff implicating games time of the NFL season, there's no better time to get started over on Hard Rock Bet. If you don't like to bet a lot of money, you could put little pieces here and there and string together a bunch of legs and do a parlay. Bet as little as $1. In Week 6, at Better in South Florida took a $1 bet. First touchdown score parlay. 5 different players, 5 different games. First touchdown bet in each of those games. Strung it together on a parlay, put $1 in, hit them all, turned it into $40,000. Did it on Hard Rock Bet, so can you. There's so many different types of parlays. You can see the popular trending parlays on the Discover page. That's actually built by other users, and you could tail it pretty easily, just a few taps away in the app to get started. If you don't even want to, go through the effort to put together a parlay, guess what? There's others that are made for you if you like to look at it. Just a few taps away to get involved. The NBA's back, so is NBA hoops betting. Of course, they got so many different types of prop bets, especially on the player side of things, that make it so much fun to really tail along. Feast week in college basketball just happened. There were so many games. You were watching them anyway. You might as well sprinkle a little bit of action on it with Hard Rock Bet. Get started now. Go download it on the Google Play Store, the App Store, or go to hardrock.bet online to get started today. If you try it now, you get up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not hit. That first bet can be a parlay. It can be a prop. It can be the over. Whatever you like to bet, any game you choose, you either win your first bet or get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. Go try it today. It's Hard Rock Bet. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. The wager terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. So let's talk about first what we saw in the 4 games we saw in the early slate. And this is including the Black Friday game. And we'll get rid of the elephant in the room. I alluded to it before. The Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions were probably the only good game that was throughout that entire slate on Thursday. And it was a good game because the Lions were doing what the Lions did for that first half, taking them down the field, basically toying with them. 16-0. They were driving at the end of the first half, looking to make it in the 20s. Jahmyr Gibbs had a fumble. Bears, to their credit, the past few weeks, they've been the tale of two halves. The Bears of old in one half, and then the Bears of new in the next half. And they play better, and they sort of lock in. That happened once again. And they got back into that game, and they even had a chance to win with the help of a couple, crucial penalties and this and that going down the field. Eventually, they screw the game away. 22 seconds to go after, a sack. Caleb Williams trying to set a play. There's a bunch of disarray. It's taking too long. And instead of, all right, reset, timeout, they had a timeout to go, Matt Eberflus decides to let Caleb figure this out in this 20 seconds. And it seems that Caleb Williams made note of the clock, changed the play, and tried to win the game that last play instead of potentially running 2 plays and getting a field goal out of it that would have at least extended the game. The Bears were not happy with this. I think most people were not happy that 40 million people watched the Chicago Bears squander away that win, or at least a chance to tie. Matt Eberflus out as head coach of the Chicago Bears. Gone. Goodbye. Ultimately, I thought this was probably this should have happened a couple weeks ago. But if you're going to lose in that type of fashion on national television when everybody's watching, it's almost people start to pity you. I pitied the Bears. I pitied the fans. I felt bad for how poor consistently the Bears find themselves in this situation. Same thing happened against the Vikings. Caleb Williams takes a crucial sack, and all of a sudden that was a nightmare with kicking the field goals. You go the week before, and of course the same thing happened with the Packers when they had a chance at the end of the game, and they get the field goal blocked as time expired in order to win the game. There's a certain point where you're in the game and you just got to learn how to win, but when you get in your own way as much as the Bears do, you need to change something. And it can't just put it all on Caleb because Caleb's a 22-year-old, 21-year-old trying to put this all together. What a disaster the Bears put on Thursday. I'm glad Eberflus is out of there. And now with him sort of the back burner a little bit, they could focus on getting the most out of Caleb the next couple weeks here and then enter the offseason as a really, really, really attractive destination for a head coach.
It's going to be a really attractive destination, but how are they going to manage it in the meantime in order to develop Caleb Williams even further? Thomas Brown was their offensive coordinator interim offensive coordinator after being, I believe, the quarterback specialist or the quarterback's coach. And then he started really unlocking Caleb Williams and this offense. I know it really was only the second half of these games, but why is he the one to take over as interim head coach and basically stop working with Caleb Williams? In some form or fashion he is, but as the interim head coach, you have so many other responsibilities that are going to get in the way of just solely working with Caleb Williams, which is what he was doing for the past 3 weeks. And the offense was actually getting better. So I think you're actually hurting Caleb Williams in the long run of this season because you found someone who you think is going to work well with him. Just because he works well with him as the offensive coordinator doesn't mean he's going to work well with him as the head coach. The Bears are still messing things up even when they're trying to fix things by firing Matt Eberflus.
Well, one thing I agree is that you don't know how much Thomas Brown is going to be, what is put onto his plate now as the interim head coach. That there's a point to be made there. But I'd be blown away if his play calling duties, number one, and two, his connection with Caleb Williams would necessarily be, put to the side in favor of him knowing when to call timeouts or motivating the team. I'm under the impression that, unless I'm wrong here, that he would still retain his duties. He is just acting head coach in terms of timeouts and making sure he manages the game clock properly. More on his plate for sure, but I don't think he's necessarily leaving his play calling duties or his offensive capabilities aside. So from that perspective, I understand the point, but in terms of taking away positives the last couple weeks, it's probably been that the offense has taken steps forward. And that is probably the positive, the silver lining you could take with the Chicago Bears. I doubt they're going to take the one guy who is the alternating variable in that and take him away from that. I don't think they have the bodies in the locker room in order to replace him. But he just needs to get to the end of the year. If they start winning a couple games, he could throw his name in the hat. But in terms of that job is going to have money. That job is going to have draft picks. That job has the quarterback already settled with 4 years on a rookie contract. That job has a plethora of offensive talent, and it has a very, very good and proven defense in a historic franchise. So in terms of, I don't know if there's a better one. I don't know if there's a better
no chance
or perspective opening, and I'm going to include teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars in there, alongside the Jets and the Saints. I'm going to assume the Raiders are going to be in there too. I think Pierce is out. I don't think he's going to be lasting throughout the year like that. So there's going to be 5, 6, maybe 7 openings. Whether you want to include the Cowboys or not is up to you. I think that is probably the 1A job candidate opening that should be the most attractive to prospective head coaches. Would you agree with this?
I would 100% agree with it. You're looking at DeAndre Swift in the backfield, who is actually having a pretty good season. All of the weapons we can't stop talking about. And honestly, the reason those weapons haven't been getting utilized more is because they're mad at the coaching staff. They're mad at what's been going on.
The offensive line stinks. The offensive line stinks.
Yes, we all agree with that. And I think a few draft picks and a few trades can help boost that as well, because the defense, as you already said, is pretty decent. Honestly, I thought they held the Lions, especially in red zone defense, fairly well in this game. And there's really not another option that's got so much talent in the here and now. I think there's teams that have great potential. Like, I think the Raiders are an underrated team that you would want to work with as a head coach. Max Crosby is there. You can draft a quarterback in this upcoming draft. Brock Bowers is almost putting his name in for a offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with Brady and Davis, but I understand. Yeah.
But there are some things there. But the Chicago Bears are in ready to win now mode. Their division is tough, obviously, but when you talk about a team that you're not really going to have to strip everything from the inside out, the Bears are the destination to be. Now, Colin, the question I have for you: should they be looking for a head coach to work with Caleb Williams, or should they be looking for a head coach to be a game leader, game manager, and then the offensive coordinator is the Caleb Williams whisperer?
Well, okay, so they've done this two different ways. In the past couple head coaches that the Bears have had, they've went both routes here. They went with Matt Nagy, and of course Nagy was supposed to be this quarterback, offensive guru whisperer coming from Kansas City, and of course would be the next coming in terms of that, Andy Reid-esque play caller, head coach. That did not work. That blew up in flames. So they went the other route here. Matt Eberflus is a defensive-minded head coach who is a leader of men. Rally around him, be a motivator, kind of let your coordinators do their thing. They went that, and ultimately, I would say the Bears would say that was a miss and a misfire. So, from that perspective, there's a couple different directions you could go. Based on the availability of who the prospective coaches can be for that Bear job, there's two different routes you could take. You could take the experienced head coach, who is that leader of men. Those are the guys that have been there, done that, and you know that there's a proven respect that comes with them into that locker room. This is guys like Mike Vrabel. This is guys like Bill Belichick. Those are the guys who have been in locker rooms. They know how to manage, I guess, the expectations. So that's one direction they could go. Or, of course, what the new hot commodity is at head coach, you could go the spring chicken on the offensive play caller side of things. Whether this is a Liam Cohn, who is the offensive coordinator of Tampa Bay, you could do Ben Johnson, who, whether he want to stay in division or not, could of course be an option from the Detroit Lions. Aaron Glenn, if you want to do that, an up-and-comer coordinator on the defensive side nonetheless. So there's a couple different options from that perspective. If I was the Bears, I would make sure that you get Ben Johnson should be everybody's 1A. Ben Johnson of the Detroit Lions should be everybody's 1A. He's an incredibly creative play caller. He's coming from a winning culture. He understands that he wants to take a job that's going to suit him for success. Now, the question I have is Ben Johnson going to want to go to a franchise where there's an opening at general manager too, and he wants to create his own type of team. Ryan Poles is likely going to stick around as general manager of the Bears. How much power are they going to give a first-time head coach like him? I would say Ben Johnson should be their number one, and whether he'd want to take that, I guess, is a little up for debate because nobody knows what the hell that guy wants to do. I would say go offensive play caller. I don't think the Belichick would suit a team like that with a young quarterback. Belichick's trying to get that wins record, and Vrabel, I think, is going to get college calls. I don't think Vrabel knows where he wants to be, and I know he's with the Browns right now, and however he's going to handle that remains to be seen. Whether he's going to take that Ohio State job if they get rid of Ryan Day. He's got too many blank boxes that I don't really know where he lies as well. You know that Ben Johnson's going to want the job, and you know he's going to want a big-time job at that. I'd think Ben Johnson would be your number one, without a doubt. If not, go offensive play caller. What would you think, Kate, on that regard?
I actually disagree. I think Bill Belichick is the right guy for this job. You just mentioned Bill Belichick wants the wins. Well, where else are you going to have a team that's ready to win now, just like we talked about, at one of the most historic franchises this league has ever seen? We're talking about a legacy for Bill Belichick. This is the place. Go cross-conference. Go to one of the most historic franchises and get your wins record there for a franchise that has not seen winning like Bill Belichick knows to win in decades. And I'm also looking at Bill Belichick, who's a guy who knows two things: the trenches on offense and how to build a good defense. Let somebody else master Caleb Williams. Grab a really good offensive coordinator that Bill Belichick trusts, that builds a relationship with Caleb Williams, and let Bill Belichick take care of the rest. We already said that the offensive line is atrocious. Bill Belichick knows how to build an offensive line. He knows how to create a great defense. Let somebody else. The key in New England all those years was Josh McDaniels working with Tom Brady and running that offense, and Bill Belichick beefed out the rest of the team. That's the type of system I think the Chicago Bears needs.
Now, the one thing is that type of offense has proven to be completely incompatible with the other quarterbacks outside of Tom Brady. Tom Brady is Tom Brady. He's a bit of an outlier in that sense, but I understand the point. Caleb Williams has been taken under the wing of Tom Brady on numerous occasions. I'd be blown away if Caleb Williams wasn't open to the fact of playing under a Belichick team. Now, there's a couple questions if you were to go Belichick on the Bears side of things. Number one, how much power is Bill Belichick going to ask for?
Let him have it. Let him have it.
Hold on. Bill the GM is the reason that Bill the coach was out in the Patriots. Is Bill the GM. Now, is Bill the GM going to want to make a return? And all of a sudden you got to get rid of Ryan Poles, who was drafted fairly well and who was traded down in a good trade with the Panthers. He didn't go offensive line. People can knock him for that, but ultimately has given this team a number of proven commodities athletically. He hasn't done an awful job, in my opinion. So Bill the GM, Bill the executive, is not Bill the coach. Those are, it is, in terms of baggage, Bill comes with quite a bit. Now, is Belichick just trying to get this wins record too? He's, 15 wins away from getting that record? Who's to say that Bill Belichick's going to come in for 2.5 years, get his win total, and then ride off into the sunset? How does that help Caleb?
I can double-check that. I think it's more like 30, but I can double-check that stat. I think it's more like 30.
Double-check that for me right now. Bill Belichick away from Don Shula. I was under the impression it was 15, 16 wins. And if that's the case, they go 10-6 the first year, and then all of a sudden they're 5-3 the year after, and Bill decides, hey, I got my win record, nobody else is touching me. I'm going to ride off into the sunset. Caleb, best of luck to you, my friend. Bon voyage. I don't think that is the right situation for, I guess, long-term development, because then all of a sudden Bill Belichick leaves. Who takes over? Steve Belichick? Is he going to bring him back from that defensive coordinator spot in Washington? I think long-term here. I think Bill Belichick should be more of a bridge candidate to another step of a professional franchise. And whether that will be the Raiders for a couple of years and then he moves on, I don't think he'd take that job anyway. But Jacksonville, a couple years, and then he moves on. I don't know if that's the right move for him to go and all of a sudden you got a baby bird in the locker room and you got to make sure that this thing turns into a full-grown hawk. And, when the bird is, a year old and still learning how to use its wings a little bit, you decide to skip town and go to your Nantucket home and kick the feet up. So I don't know if that's the right move.
You're right. It's 14 wins. It's 333 to 347. So he needs 15 to break it. You were correct. I don't know where I heard the 30 from, but I do think that's at least 2 seasons.
Yeah, so it depends on where the Bears lie. Can Bill walk in immediately? And I'm going to assume he's going to coach for 3 seasons tops. 3 seasons. If Bill is there for 3 years, are the Bears convinced that a Bill Belichick ran Bears team with what they have from this year to next year, maybe the year after, are they convinced that Bill Belichick can not only revamp that culture, revamp that locker room, and win games, win big games, contend for a Super Bowl, if you want to call it that early, and then all of a sudden he skips down? So is that the question? Or are you looking for a more long-term fix? Is Bill Belichick going to want to deal with another, he's not a Mac Jones, but like a baby bird? You didn't have to worry about Brady. Brady does what Brady does. And Brady in year 15 can coach himself. You got all of a sudden Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi, and you gotta give them a little bit of caring and nurturing. I don't know if Bill wants to deal with that. I don't know if that's something that Bill wants to do. You know who should call him? The New York Jets. Think about what we just talked about.
You've lost your mind.
You need a short-term fix. You need somebody who's proven in the locker room, and you need somebody who's going to skip town in 3 years. I can't think of a better position than Bill Belichick going to the New York Jets. What's a big problem in getting a coach in there? Aaron Rodgers needs to respect him. You need somebody that's going to warrant the respect of Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately, because you're stuck with him. Who better than Bill Belichick? Who better than getting Belichick in the mix and establishing a foothold? He has dealt with the division. Woody Johnson, I'm sure, hates him, but would love to have him on board. He killed the Jets for 30 years. This is an option. They have plenty of talent defensively. An easier type division. I think this is it. It's a New York market. He could deal with the pressure of the media. It's short term. The Jets need to kind of flush everything out, give them a couple of years. Who better to maximize what they have now?
Colin, you're more of the historian. Colin, you're more of the historian than I am. But if I'm not mistaken, didn't the Jets already try hiring Bill Belichick and he wouldn't even step foot in the locker room before he quit on them? He is the last person that will go in that building. There's no chance he gets that job. No chance he wants it. No chance they even ask him for it. There is no mutual relationship between the Jets and Bill Belichick right now.
I know.
It's not even a question.
Sure, but in terms of who's going to call Belichick here, he's going to want to go to Jacksonville instead? You think Bill wants to bury himself in a small market? I don't know about that. He might hate the Jets, but what better of a story than Aaron Rodgers tailing off his career with Belichick? How about that? There's a story there, Cade. There's a story. There's something to be considered. He
has written off that story. It's not even a question. Like that conversation can't even happen. New Orleans is a better spot for Bill Belichick, if you ask me.
We'll see. That was Cade Chumsden, Colin Russo here on ESPN 106.3. It's Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet. On the flip side of things, of course, the Giants report. We look into the slate, Week 13, on the Sunday side of things. We break down the slate a little bit. Next, we do our Fantasy Football Factory. Who is the best play of the week? Of course, a big-time Sunday highlighted by a snowball in Buffalo against between the Bills and the 49ers. And, of course, the Eagles taking on the Ravens. The Eagles going to have to, stay afloat with the Lions continuing to win. Can they even catch up? We break that down next. It's Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Ready to transform your life? Hexus MD's weight loss solutions are here to help you achieve a healthier, happier you. Get started with semaglutide and trizepatide. No insurance needed. With Hexus MD, experience weight management that fits your lifestyle without quick fixes or fads. Join thousands who've embraced a new way of living. Imagine the confidence, energy, and freedom to live your best life. Start your journey today. Visit HexusMD.com. That's HEXISMD.com. Use discount code ESPN50 for 50% off your first order.
Palm Beach County's premier college football event is back. Don't miss the 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, Wednesday, December 18th from FAU Stadium and broadcast live on ESPN. Last year's game saw in-state Rising Power USF beat Syracuse out of the ACC. What will this year's game have in store? Big names, big teams, big action. The 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, December 18th at FAU Stadium on ESPN. Don't miss out. Find out more at BocaRatonBowl.com.
Huddle up at Hurricane Grill and Wings, where every day is game day. From our famous wings to our refreshing new cocktails, we're serving up the flavors you crave. And score big with our happy hour deals. It's the perfect spot to catch all the football action while enjoying your food faves, cocktails, and beer. Don't miss out. Grab your friends and family and swing by Hurricane Grill and Wings to see what everyone's cheering about. Visit hurricanewings.com to find the restaurant nearest you.
Bet live with Hard Rock Bet. Real-time wagering till the very last play. Missing the kickoff doesn't mean all bets are off.
Delay a game on the guy who hasn't bet yet.
Sometimes you just know your team is going to come back. The sportsbook for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Experience the ultimate blend of luxury shopping, dining, and entertainment at the Gardens Mall. Just 1 mile east off I-95 on PGA Boulevard, this premier destination offers a mix of high-end brands, trendy retailers, and delicious dining. The mall's award-winning architecture, fine art, and lush landscaping create a stunning backdrop for interactive experiences and events. Whether you're shopping for the latest trends or enjoying the vibrant atmosphere, the Gardens Mall is Palm Beach County's top shopping and lifestyle destination.
Hi, this is Blaine Isbell, Corporate Vice President of Team IP. For over 30 years, Team IP has been a national leader in decorated apparel and promotional products. National corporate brands and 22 college bowl games, including the Boca Raton Bowl, make Team IP their partner of choice. Team IP, located right in our community in Stewart, is a proud partner of ESPN West Palm. Contact me anytime at 877-821-8643 or head to teamip.com and take the first step in making Team IP your team to boost your brand.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, Frank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
Big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
Theo here. EDS is yes. You've heard me say that over and over. So I need you to keep this website in mind too. EDSIsYes.com. For the most trusted AC specialist here in Palm Beach County, EDSIsYes.com. For 24/7 support, EDS is a trained comfort specialist. It's hard to stop a train. There are so many reasons why EDS is yes. When it comes to your air conditioning and plumbing, EDSIsYes.com. That's EDSIsYes.com.
Red right, 24 double Puma on one. Replay.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Going on here on a Sunday edition of Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet. Colin Russo, Cade Shumsden with you till 11, previewing the Week 13 Sunday slate of NFL football after 4 games on the early onset of the week due to Thanksgiving. Whole lot to talk about, whole lot to do. Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet. All right, let's get this out of the way. Fantasy football season is upon us. Kate, are you in your fantasy playoffs?
Not quite yet. I believe I have one more week. I'm getting confused. I'm in like 4 different leagues, but I think I've got one more week left.
Yeah, I think I'm entering the one of my 2 leagues. I'm in the playoffs, and the other one I am near the bottom. Let's just put it that way. But so I got a big matchup this week into next week. So I was putting a lot of thought into it. Let's do our Fantasy Football Factory presented by Hexus MD. Fantasy Football Factory, where Cade and I go 3 players apiece that need to have a fringe candidate for whether you're starting them or not. You don't know whether to lean on them. Cade and I have got you covered. Go with this guy. Don't go to that guy. Fantasy Football Factory, presented by Hexus MD. It's your partner in easy and effective weight management methods. Visit HEXISMD.com. That's HexusMD.com. Cade, your first candidate for Fantasy Football Factory is who?
We've got an interesting, really meaningless matchup with New England and Indianapolis, but I think there's some sneaky scores in this matchup. I like New England, and I like wide receiver Demario Douglas to find himself in the end zone. He's only done it once all year, but he's a little bit on the rise, and in his last 3 games, he's had at least 4 or more receptions with at least 50 yards or more. I think this Indianapolis team at home is where he can take advantage and have a big game. I think a sneaky pick if you got someone who's injured or you're looking for someone on the waiver wire. I like wide receiver Demario Douglas of the New England Patriots.
Interesting one. I got one, somebody that should have been in lineups a couple weeks ago, but it's sort of fallen off from grace a little bit. Rookie receiver, non-biased, Brian Thomas Jr. from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Somebody who necessarily hasn't really had the consistency that you'd really want in a week-by-week receiver, because Jacksonville stinks, number one. Play calling-wise, they're a bit erratic. But they're playing the Texans this week. I think that Jacksonville is actually going to play pretty well here. Whether they're going to win or not, I do not think so. But Lawrence is playing. Trevor Lawrence is playing after missing the last 2 games with a shoulder injury. So, Lawrence is in the mix. Therefore, I think he's going to go to Brian Thomas Jr. early and often. It's almost like he has nobody else to go. Yeah, Christian Kirk is hurt. Gabe Davis has been banged up all season long. They got no stable running game. He's got nowhere else to go. He's going to Brian Thomas Jr. today. Get that guy in your lineups. I have him in one of my leagues, and I haven't been playing him, or regrettably. But he hasn't been consistent. And I think this is a week where Brian Thomas Jr. can actually do some damage.
Love that pick, Colin. I'm going to go to another wide receiver. Seattle Seahawks have the 3-headed monster in Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf. And I'm going to go with the middleman on this one. I like Tyler Lockett. They're traveling to the New York Jets. But honestly, if you have any of these wide receivers, play them. I see a massive offensive performance. Seattle has won their last 2 games. They had a big win last week against the Arizona Cardinals, but they only put up 17 points. I think this is an offensive get-back game for the Seattle Seahawks. Huge scoring, big on Geno Smith. especially big on wide receiver Tyler Lockett.
Interesting. A very underrated career Lockett has had. He has protected himself, has always been healthy, always been pretty reliable.
Mr. Consistent over there, absolutely.
Sure-handed guy. Yeah, I've always liked Tyler Lockett. Good career he's had. I went this guy a couple weeks ago on my Fantasy Football Factory. I'm going to go to him again because people forget just how dominant he was a couple weeks ago coming off their bye here. Taysom Hill, tight end of the New Orleans Saints, playing the Rams today. The Saints, when in doubt, when you don't know where the Saints are going to go, chances are Taysom Hill is going to be involved in some capacity. So if you don't know what their game plan is going to be, look no further than the Swiss Army man himself, Taysom Hill, coming off a week where he had basically 40 points off of rushing, receiving, you name passing. Guy does everything. And he will be involved early and often today. If you need a tight end, use him in your flex if you want to, if you're feeling a little frisky. But I have Brock Bowers and I had Taysom Hill. Brock Bowers, of course, started and he played very, very well. But my flex is open. Guess who's going in there? Taysom Hill. You know, Taysom Hill is either forgotten about or he's used, and he's used in about 100 different ways. I'm leaning towards the latter, and he's going to be, around the field early and often for the Saints, taking on the Rams today. That's a 405 kick. Give me Taysom Hill to do some damage today.
That was one of your best predictions polls I've ever seen, whether it's on Fantasy Football Factory presented by Hexus MD or it's just on Russo and Rizzo, which you can hear from 4 to 6.
He's something.
That was
something.
Wild what he did 2 weeks ago. I'm going to match you a tight end. My third pick, another tight end. You want to talk about not consistent whatsoever this year? I'm talking Mike Gesicki from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the reason I'm saying this guy, if you look at his stat lines, you must be thinking I'm crazy right now because I believe he only had 1 reception for 3 yards last week. But here's the thing. When Jamar Chase underperforms, Mike Gesicki overperforms. They're going against the Pittsburgh Steelers today. Mike Tomlin is going to do everything in his power to get his defense to lock up Jamar Chase. I think that will open up things for the Cincinnati Bengals to hit Mike Gesicki. I don't think the Bengals will score a ton of points, but when they do, talk about red zone situations when they have to score, I see Mike Gesicki getting it done. Give me the tight end from Cincinnati as my third pick.
He's been a pretty erratic player throughout the year. You didn't really know how involved he's going to get, but he's super athletic. I remember him even at Penn State was somebody that I thought could be a really, really effective tight end. Now, Cade, you're a Texan fan. I'm curious on what you think of this, but I think he's actually going to have a pretty decent week, and it's Tank Dell. And Tank Dell, I think, has been somebody who has been kind of forgotten about in that offense because of Houston's struggles, of course, whether it be with quarterback or Bobby Slowick's offense, however they're constructing, however you want to chalk it up. He's sort of been the odd man out. And because they've been running the ball effectively, Nico Collins is, of course, going to be involved. Tank Dell, Tank Dell doesn't necessarily have a carved-out piece of that offense. Now, this week specifically, against Jacksonville, I think if there's a time to be involved and there's a time to take advantage of another team's sore spot, it's probably a slot receiver for a pass-heavy offense. And that's Tank Dell today against Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he will have actually a pretty solid game today. I think he's going to get involved. They're going to use him pretty frequently due to Jacksonville not being able to stay in front of a parked car. And on top of the fact, I think he's a bit of a streaky couple weeks in, couple weeks out. The Houston's got their own issues. There's a problem in terms of where they kind of rely on their offensive output. I think a part of that fix is utilizing the middle of the field a little earlier on downs, sort of taking what the defense gives you, and I think Tank Dell is the beneficiary of that type of play calling. Instead of the 3rd and long hero ball, let's rely on C.J. Stroud in a big spot. I'm sure Cade knows all about that. So I think Tank Dell today would be my guy.
Too well do I know about that. And listen, C.J. Stroud just has to play more accurate football because I don't think Tank Dell is missing on the targets. He's just missing on the receptions because C.J. actually isn't getting him the ball in the spots he needs to. So I agree that Tank Dell is a solid pick this week, but it's going to rely more on C.J. getting him the ball than Tank actually getting open today. So you're basically banking on C.J. staying protected in the pocket and just I think he's just getting in his own head.
Yeah, take what the defense gives you. They rely too much on hero ball. I think that it's like, CJ, save us. It's 3rd and 12, CJ, save us. CJ just got drafted. Like, this is not – that should not be your game plan. I think that – and in terms of being the benefit, take what the defense is giving you. And that I think Tank Dell would be the beneficiary of that type of mindset.
You take your shots when they're available, and Nico will get the ball. But in the meantime, first down, run the ball. Second down, short passes. We don't have a 3rd and 3 at all, ever. It's always 3rd and 8 or more. So, Colin, I'm all with you. I just need to actually see it.
Yeah, and you'll see it today with Jacksonville taking on the Houston Texans. Jacksonville sticking with their head coach. They're coming off the bye here. I can actually see them playing pretty hard here now, knowing that Doug Peterson's going to be hanging around. You might as well play pretty hard. But that's a perspective that, call me the optimist Jags fan, would take. Of course, some other games today. 49ers, Bills. It looks to be another snow game, reminding you why NFL deserves to be played outside. Everybody's going to the domes, whether it be, Buffalo considering it, Chicago considering it, Cleveland considering it. NFL is meant to be played outside, and you're going to see that again tonight with 10 feet of snow surrounding the Buffalo, this stadium, and it's going to be a sight to behold. I'm very much looking forward to that. Whether the Niners even play well or not, I have no interest in that. But I have interest in seeing the NFL being played in the medium that it's meant to be played, and that is a blizzard. But the game of the day today is on CBS. The Eagles-Ravens in Baltimore today. Eagles sitting at 9-2. Ravens sitting at 8-4. We'll give our picks against the spread next when we blitz the book. But in terms of this game, it sounds like the theme of the NFC is you got your good teams and then you got the Lions. And the Eagles are somewhat in between those two bubbles of the Packers-Vikings level of really good or the Lions level of great. And I think this is a type of game that decides what bubble the Eagles will fall into, whether that is the really good territory of the Packers, the Vikings, that area, or they sort of graduate themselves into that level of great alongside the Detroit Lions. This is the game on the road where they would have to prove it. They're going to be able to run the ball all day long. Of course, Saquon versus Derrick Henry. There's going to be running games on either side. I think in terms of holes, the Baltimore Ravens have a fewer more glaring holes comparatively to the Eagles, and I think the Eagles are going to capitalize on that, whether that be in the pass game. Just generally, I think the Eagles are going to score. Now, if that Eagle defense, who has played very, very well, can moderately slow down that Baltimore offense, I think this is the Eagles' game to win and run away with. But if this turns into a shootout a little bit, I think this starts to favor Baltimore's side a little bit, just off the fact that going drive for drive plays into the strengths of what Baltimore does comparatively to what the Eagles do. So if it's a shootout and they're going drive for drive and Baltimore just has the defense's number, then I would give my edge to Baltimore. However, if the Eagles can run the ball effectively, control the pace of the game, and that defense can slow down enough that Baltimore Raven offense, give me the Eagles all day long. That would be my prediction for that game. Kate, what about you?
For a man who always prides himself in finding the themes and the mojo and the vibes, I'm surprised you're not bringing up the stat about Lamar Jackson being, 27-1 against NFC teams?
Right.
I figured that would be the angle you're taking at this. I'm shocked you're finally going with the Eagles because I've been preaching the Eagles for the last 5 weeks.
He's unbelievable against the NFC. I don't understand why he's so good against the NFC, but I'm not going to rely on that type of trend. I know they're at home, but I'm not going to rely on that trend for today's game because I am not a Lamar guy. I never have been, and I just don't think I've just never been that sold because he can't show up in a big game. The way I look at it is I'm not necessarily going to just chalk up this really good Eagles team to lose just off the notion that Lamar doesn't lose to NFC teams. If there's going to be a theme, it relies in what type of Philly defense is going to show up against that Baltimore offense. That will decide the game.
Absolutely. And you already talked about the rushing game. That's going to be a huge piece of the puzzle. Which quarterback can come up in the clutch? Right? Is Jalen Hurts going to fall on his face or is Lamar Jackson going to fall on his face? This is the number one thing that both of these quarterbacks have had to deal with in their careers is not coming up in the clutch in big games. And in honesty, it's probably favored a little bit more of Jalen Hurts because he's actually been to a Super Bowl. And Lamar Jackson has fallen short time after time again. I honestly don't think home field advantage is going to be that big of an advantage. Philadelphia, not that far away from Baltimore, and the Eagles travel pretty well. So it'll be more purple in the stands, obviously, but this is what Philly's made for. Philly's going to have an incredible rest of the season. The only other road game they have besides this game is at Washington, which is also in their backyard. And then the rest of the time they're at home.
If they want to flirt with that number 1 overall seed in the NFC, they're going to have to win this game.
Yep, and with Detroit having stumbled a few times late in some of these games, they almost lost it against the Texans. They almost lost it against Chicago. The Eagles are probably licking their chops to get a shot at these Lions. I'm not exactly sure how the tying situation, because I don't believe they play each other in the regular season. So I'm not exactly sure how a tie would work, but you want to bet that they're going to take every opportunity they can. And this is a huge statement game for them. I like the Eagles, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens surprised us this time at home.
Yeah, maybe they do. I think it goes from divisional record, and then it goes to conference record. And both of the Eagles' losses are against NFC teams. They both lost to Tampa Bay, and both them and the Lions. And the Eagles also lost to the Falcons. So there's 2 losses in the NFC right then alone. So if the Lions lose to the Bills later in the season, that doesn't hurt them as much comparatively because it's not an NFC matchup. So the Lions are in the driver's seat to get that number 1 overall seed, but you're still only a game or 2 behind. The Lions have been flirting with losing, like you alluded to. That's your opportunity there. We got to close out the program next. Blitz the Book, presented by Hard Rock Bet. Pick against the spread, give you a player prop and team parlay to send you off into Sunday NFL football. You're listening to Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen, and you know what time it is. It's game time. Tip-offs and touchdowns are on the clock. Tonight, the Heat and the Raptors get your evening started. We're live from Toronto at 5:30. Right after the final buzzer, the 49ers and Bills finish off Week 13 of the NFL season. You gonna eat that?
Exciting news, West Palm Beach. X Golf is now open and ready for you. Experience top-of-the-line simulators, perfect your swing, and enjoy a full bar and delicious bites. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, X Golf has something for everyone. Rain or shine, we've got you covered with virtual courses from around the world. Book your tee time today. Come visit us at X Golf West Palm Beach, where the game never stops. Visit on Instagram at XGolfWPB for more information.
You've got so many chances to win big on Hard Rock Bet. Even a small bet can bring in that serious cash. All you need is $1 and a dream.
Unbelievable. They've hit the parlay.
Let's go!
Big payouts for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Does your business leave a lasting impression? Attractive, eye-catching signs help you stand out from the crowd and create a strong brand identity. Our team at Signorama West Palm are experts in helping your business get noticed and get effective signage in front of your potential customers. Our team can turn your blank windows or plain vehicles into money-making branding machines by drawing customers' attention to your business. So if you're looking to leave that lasting impression, call us 561-687-7993 or visit SignoramawPB.com.
PNC Bank is committed to helping the customers and the communities they serve move forward financially. To do this, they're implementing their Community Benefits Plan that focuses on affordable home lending, small business loans, and employee volunteerism, and creating other opportuns to give back on a local level. They're proud to be a part of the South Florida community. See how PNC Bank can make a difference for you at pnc.com/our commitments. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Time now for the Land Rover Palm Beach Player of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. Every Player of the Week is eligible to win a scholarship at the end of the year. This year, a $25,000 scholarship will be awarded to an athlete, with $10,000 going to the winner's high school athletic department. Land Rover Palm Beach, above and beyond. Here's Cade Chumsland.
Our Land Rover Palm Beach Player of the Week is Palm Beach Gardens sharpshooter Enoch Vincent, who was the leading scorer with 19 points and 5 3-pointers in a tough loss against rival Dwyer High School. Here's how the game went in his own words.
Coming to that first game, everybody thought we were going to lose by 30. We really came into that game to step on their neck and not get off the pedal. Everything about my game, I felt confident in it. First quarter was real hard for me, but coach, everybody else told me to keep shooting, so I kept shooting.
Congratulations, Enoch, on being selected this week's Land Rover Palm Beach Player of the Week. Good luck to you and the rest of the Gators on the remainder of the season.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Hey, you! It's me, Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike with Canty and Michelle. That's all. Just wanted to say hi. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
It's your boy JC, and it is football season, and nobody loves it more than me. And nobody loves Twin Peaks more than me. Eats, drinks, scenic views, 29-degree beer, happy hour daily made from scratch favorites, and always your UFC fight headquarters. You can watch any and every single football game happening in Ultra 4K HD from your Twin Peaks locations. You can watch any and every UFC fight, pay-per-view or otherwise, and never pay a cover. That's right, UFC fight headquarters, it's always Twin Peaks.
Let's go. Double right, scat right, double cowboy. Double right, scat right, double cowboy.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Week 13 of the NFL season coming to a close after these new slated games coming up today on Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet. Colin Russo, Cade Chumslin. Cade's at the back of the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. I am remote in Connecticut. We'll be traveling back tomorrow morning for Russo and Rizzo, so no fretting there. We'll be okay. Everybody will be back in studio soon enough, but got a packed enough slate. I know there's a couple games that we saw earlier in the week, so there's not as many games, but there's a couple good ones nonetheless. It's time for us to blitz the book, presented by Hard Rock Bet. What's the book presented by Hard Rock Bet on Sunday Huddle with Colin and Cade? It's time for us to go game by game on that Sunday slate. Pick against the spread. Who do we like? Who do we not like? Where are the themes? What's the trends? Time for us to blitz the book. Cade, we're going to start in that Texan-Jacksonville Jaguar game. Coming off the bye, the Jaguars are Texans sitting at 7-5, coming off a problematic loss last week. What's the spread in this one? Is it 3.5 on Hard Rock Bet?
It is 3.5 on Hard Rock Bet, and as much as I actually want to take the Jaguars on this, considering they do a little bit better at home, Trevor Lawrence is back, I'd probably kick myself pretty hard if I didn't go with my Texans here. So I'm going to roll with the Houston Texans. I like your Tank Dell Fantasy Football Factory take, and we'll roll with him here. I'll go Houston minus 3.5.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville's actually going to play quite a bit better today. Whether they're going to keep it within 3.5 is another question. Lean into Jacksonville territory, 3.5. I'll take Jacksonville 3.5. That's the spread on Hard Rock Bet. Go download it today, Hard Rock Bet. It's the easy way to get involved on parlays. You could do on the NBA side of things. You've got a packed slate of NFL football today. The way I look at it is you're going to watch the games anyway. You might as well sprinkle some action and get involved in the Hard Rock Bet app today. Go download it on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Go to hardrock.bet online to get started today. So easy to get involved in a parlay. You can only bet as little as $1. Go through the Discover page, and if you like a specific put-together parlay for you, Cade, I'm going to ask Cade if he has one in just a second here. If there is a particular parlay on the Discover page that is attractive to you, all you got to do is a couple buttons, a couple little taps, and then all of a sudden you're tailing it as well. Cade, what is that parlay that you thought was interesting on Hard Rock Bet app?
Well, I'm actually going to switch it up on you. Even before you scroll down to the parlays, we've got an odds boost alert. A bet that went from plus 145 to plus 200. Justin Herbert over 225 passing yards against the Falcons and the Chargers to win. That two-leg parlay has been boosted from plus 145 to plus 200. Go jump on that right now.
There it is. There's your promo pick right there. That's an easy one to get involved on. Let's move on with Blitz the Book. Colts, Patriots today. Colts sitting at 5-7. Patriots 3-9, coming off a terrible loss last week against the Dolphins, at Hard Rock. I was at that game. Patriots were god-awful in that one. But Colts sitting at 5-7, still not necessarily out of the playoff race yet. Cade, what's the spread in this one?
It's -2 for the Colts, but I think this is a bounce back for New England. I got them +2.
I would agree with you on that one. I think the Patriots are actually going to play pretty well today. Whether the Colts are playing for their season or not is the only way I lean the other way, but I think Patriots are due for a little bit of a bounce back here. I'll tail that as well. Steelers playing the Bengals today. Steelers 8-3. Sitting on a long week here. The Bengals sitting at 4-7. You have no idea what Bengal team is going to show up here to effectively out of the playoff race. If you ask me, I don't think they're going to win out the rest of the way. But it's in Cincinnati. It's a divisional game. This is not going to be a walk in the park for the Steelers if they continue winning. What's the spread here in this one?
We've got the Bengals favored -3, but I like the Steel City. Give me the underdog Steelers at 9-2. Okay.
Wow.
+3.
Right. 8-3 Steelers sitting at an underdog. I'm going to go Bengals here. I think this is a divisional game. It's going to be tough to win. I think the Bengals are going to win this one. Weirdly enough, that offense is just going to start clicking. Chargers-Falcons today in Atlanta. This is essentially a pick 'em, right, Cade?
Yeah, it's -1 for the Chargers, and I love it. Falcons have really disappointed me.
I like the Chargers here as well. Unfortunately, I took the Falcons over earlier in the year, so we got to keep an eye out on that. They need to get a win eventually. But I agree, the Chargers are sort of trending upward, coming off a short week, though, against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. But -1, essentially a pick 'em. I'd ride the Chargers here. I could see the Falcons playing well, but the Chargers need the win. They don't want the back half of that division, whether that be the Denver Broncos, to catch up to them. Seahawks at Jets today, flying across the country. You alluded to it earlier. You love the Seahawks here. This is like another pick-em, essentially, right?
Yeah, but it's favored for the Jets at -1. I like the Seahawks.
Yeah. I like the Seahawks here as well. I know you're traveling across the country. It's a bit of a trap game for them. In an NFC West that is wide open for the taking. They're going to need to play well today. I'll take the Seahawks +1. Cardinals at Vikings. Vikings favored by 3 points in this one, 3.5?
It's 3.5, a full 3.5. I don't love it. But
it's a tricky game.
Yeah, the Cardinals disappointed me last time, so I'm going to go with the Vikings.
We'll go quickly. I'm going to ride with the Vikings as well. Let's shift to the Eagle-Raven game. Eagles and Ravens. Ravens favored in this one. Which one do you like?
I like the Eagles +3.
I like the Eagles +3 as well. The snow game tonight. Buffalo taking on the 49ers. What are we going to see in that one, Cade?
It's Buffalo -6, and I'm going to hammer it hard. No love for the 49ers right now.
Keep it the 49ers close. This game has 17-16 written all over it in that snow game. Cade, what is your parlay to finish out the show?
I'm going to go Geno Smith with a big game plus over 234 passing yards, and I'm going to parlay that with +2.5 on the Saints over the Rams.
How about that? That's Cade right there. I'm going to get Saquon Barkley to score a touchdown on top of the Eagles. That's my parlay. That was Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet. Sending you off into football season. Be back at it next week. It's been Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3.
The preceding program